Yo, what's up, guys? It is Kyle Beast here. We're getting into this Week 5 summary of NFL football games. I'm pretty excited for the week. It ends off Sunday night with that 49ers-Cowboys game. It's going to be an incredible game. Stay tuned for what I have to say about that. It's going to be later in the episode. Preview for this episode. We got Thursday Night Football recap. We're going to talk Bears at Commanders, Jags, Bills, Texans, Falcons, Ravens, Steelers, Eagles, Rams, Bengals, Cardinals, Chiefs, Vikings, Sunday Night Football, Boys, Niners, Monday Night Football, Pack, and Raiders. So let's just get right into it. If that does sound like something you usually like to listen to and you like to keep up on, do hit just a like and subscribe. We come out with these videos every week. It only takes you about 2 seconds and it helps me a ton. So just if you have liked the videos so far, go ahead and just hit that subscribe button. But let's get into it. Thursday Night Football recap. Bears at Commanders. I went with Commanders 27-20. Let me look with that. The final score ended up being Bears 40-20. So I was quite wrong about that one. The Bears really gave me a big FU this week. I didn't like them at all coming into the game against the Commanders, and I ended up trading away DJ Moore in one of my fantasy leagues. So that was a big miss and big loss. Truthfully, I was kind of sucked. Not gonna lie. They definitely looked better. Justin Fields looked incredibly, had a great game. Defense looked as good as it's looked all year. 2 really good works for the Bears, but I don't want to get too excited for it because it was just against 2 bad teams. I don't think the Broncos or Commanders are necessarily elite by any means. Talking about the Commanders, I definitely fell into that trap of thinking that they actually are like a decent team. Truth is, they're just as bad as I thought they were coming into the season. The Eagles just really aren't that good and that dominant, and they always struggle against the Commanders. Even when they were 8-0 last year, that was their first loss of the season, was to the Commanders. Obviously the Bears ended up covering. The game did go over that 44.5 over under, and the Bears ended up winning. Obviously, we are adding a new segment to the show. I forgot to let you guys know at the start of it. We are going to go over the spread, the over under, and the money line, which is obviously just the winner of each game, and we're going to say what we're picking and basically why. But you'll hear why in the prediction. We got Jags at Bills in London at 7:30 a.m. Can't wait to wake up again. Super excited. I plan on hitting a bike ride early in the morning and then watching that game, so actually kind of sucks. I'm going to have to wake up like 5:30. But let's get into it. Jags are playing all right football. They had a big they had a big win last week against the Falcons. Falcons look like a complete mess, ultimately or mainly offensively. They look like fucking shit. Excuse my language. Sorry, I'm a Falcons fan, so it's quite frustrating for me. But I do really like their pass rush in this matchup. However, just the Bills, they're playing at such an elite level. And for how talented the offense is in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence has been a huge disappointment. The whole offense has been a huge disappointment, and it ultimately does fall on Trevor. Bills, they're playing amazing football. They definitely look like a top 3 team in the league. Josh Allen looks great. The defense is getting after teams, and the pass rush has been awesome. I can't wait to see. Von Miller should be coming back this week, so that's another big issue for Trevor Lawrence. He's probably going to be limited, just come in on big third down plays, but it's definitely going to make a difference. Greg Rousseau has looked really good, and Leonard Floyd has also looked really good. Been really cool to see Greg Rousseau, the young kid out of Miami a couple of years ago. He's been really good. Prediction for this one. I'm going to go Jags offense. It looked average against the Falcons, who are a poor pass rush team and a poor run defensive team. So I think this is going to be a way tougher matchup against this Bills pass rush. I'm going to say the Bills win this one pretty soundly, 31-20. Spread on this game is -5.5 Bills. I got the Bills covering. The over on it is 48.5, and I'm definitely going to go over. I think both of these teams are pretty solid. I only had it going over by 3 points, but I just can certainly see it going over with just the Bills offense being pretty dominant. All right, let's get into this Texans and Falcons matchup. I've been dreading talking about the Falcons because this matchup is really good for us, right? We win this matchup. The Texans have struggled against the run. We have a pretty good defense and a really good secondary. We don't have a great rush defense, and the Texans don't have a great rush game, especially with all their offensive linemen being out. So we win this matchup, but it's so hard for me to take the Falcons seriously and think they actually might win a game when the past 2 weeks have looked atrocious offensively. We haven't been able to do anything. Texans, they're playing really good, and it is really fun to watch them play football. C.J. Stroud looks really good. It's so cool to see that when a rookie is looking that good, and he hasn't turned the ball over, which is incredible. And they're honestly throwing the yard against teams. They like to pass a lot, but with a lot of offensive line injuries right now. So many offensive line injuries, and the Falcons' rush defense not being that good. I do anticipate them to try to run in this game a lot more, especially early. And I think the key issue for them in this week is just staying with that run game, and just trying to win in the run, not winning in the pass. Our weakness is definitely in our run game. I do want to show you guys how many injuries they have. It's incredible on the offensive line. I think all of their starters are out. Laramie Tunsil is questionable. I'm not sure if he's playing. I have no idea. Josh Jones, another tackle, is out. Kendrick Green, their center, is out. Derek Stingley just got put on IR. He's not an offensive lineman. He's their best corner, though, which is also a big just miss and is going to play a role in this game. And then, Kenyon Green, their draft pick from a couple of years ago. He is on injury reserve. He's out. I think he's out for the entire season. Killian Zierer, another tackle, is out. DJ Skife is out. Scott Quinsonberry, their center, is out. So they are very slim on the offensive line. Falcons, like we talked about earlier, I really like this matchup in this one. How the last 2 games have gone, I just can't pick them. I can't believe in our offense. I just really can't. I hope Bijan has a great game. I hope we play good, but at the end of the day, we're a hope team. You hope we play average at the end of the day, which is just so disappointing, especially with how much just talent we have at the end. It falls on Ritter and Arthur Smith. It's certainly not on Ritter. I know there's this big thing in Falcons Nation, Hotlanta Nation, where Ritter or Smith. It's both, and that's just the truth. Desmond Ritter's looked great at times, and Arthur Smith has looked like shit at times. Honestly, not that good. But Desmond Ritter's looked really bad at times as well. So, and the play calling has just been awful. A couple just things I wanted to say about last game. Okay, so not last week, but the week before. I'm trying to remember who we played. God damn it. Let me go look. Sorry, give me 1 second. So, again, yeah, we played the Lions, right? We went empty on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2 a bunch of times. Didn't get it. We're going to be losing that game 20-6. Don't get shit going offensively. This Jacksonville game, we don't learn. Twice on 3rd and 1. Yeah, twice on 3rd and 1. It wasn't 4th and 1. We go in empty. Empty formation. Well, why were we putting the ball in our young quarterback's hands, who's, honestly, he hasn't played great, and he's a big problem right now. I just don't get it. And then there was another one. This was a big point in the game. It was 3rd and 5. It was 2-down territory. We ended up going for it on 4th and 5, and we pass on 3rd and 5 and 4th and 5. So my question is, if that's 4-down territory and you plan on going for it, why is that a pass? Or why isn't it just like even just a quick screen or a run? It just doesn't make any sense. It's quite honestly, it's pretty frustrating, and I tweeted out during the game out of just pure frustration and emotion that it might be time to bag Arthur Smith and send most of our future for a quarterback. I think there's still time, but I actually, at the end of the day, I think I lean more on the Arthur Smith is the problem than Ritter, and after this season, depending on how we do, I think it's probably time to bag Arthur Smith, which a lot of Falcons fans don't love, but I do think it's the case. I have been getting a lot of questions this week, or I guess only a couple times from my brother, but would Hotlanta trade a first-round pick for Justin Fields, and how many? 2 first rounds, I think absolutely not. I think that's way too high of a price. After watching Justin Fields' 2 last games, I'd say I'd absolutely send a first. And I know you're probably thinking, it was 1 game, blah, blah, blah. Justin Fields has done that consistently in his career to make the old adage in the NFL be saying, if he's done it before, he can do it again. So I would definitely throw a first at Fields for sure. Probably a first and a fourth. I don't know if I'd go higher than that. It's just hard to. I'm hard to bet on Fields. But prediction for this game: Texans are going to want to pass. Falcons are going to run. Texans are going to need to run the ball. I really want to pick Atlanta. I think the right thing would be to pick Atlanta just because they have such a favorable matchup in this game. But like I said, after 2 weeks, I can't have any belief in them. I anticipate the defense to do everything they can, and the offense let us down once again. So I'm just going to take the Texans in this one, in a close one. I got Texans 24-20. The spread is Atlanta, 1.5. I'm going to say Texans cover. The over-under is 41.5. I'm going over. I think 41.5 is actually too low, just for the matchup for both teams. Let's get into this Ravens-Steelers game, though. Ravens offense has been Lamar's been average. They do have that new OC. It's been super injury riddled too, and they just got back a lot of players from this week for practice. Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, and OBJ all on that offensive side. Huge win for the Ravens. With the new OC, it does make sense that the offense has started off pretty slow. I think it will get better and better each week. I think they're all right. Defensively, they've been really good, even with so many injuries. They always do this. They also got Marlon Humphrey back this week. Another big win for the Ravens. You just can't turn the ball over in this one. Those great rivalries, right? Ravens Steelers. You can't give this offense short field. They'll get 3 points out of it, and quite honestly, that's all they need is a couple good drives for this defense to step up for the Steelers. Steelers offense has been abysmal. Matt Canada's taken a lot of heat. Certainly not all on his shoulders. They have a young quarterback with a bad offensive line. That seems to never work out in this league. It never has. I don't know if there has been a time that it's worked out. Let me know. But I've never seen it. The defense has been good, but it hasn't been great against better offenses. When we go look at these the Browns matchup, they absolutely dominated, right? Let me go pull up their schedule. Sorry. Against San Francisco, right? They give up 30 points. Against Cleveland, they ended up giving up 26 points, but their defense was good. And then the Raiders. They gave up 22 points. Their defense was dominant. Cleveland doesn't have a good offense, though. Against the Raiders, they don't have a good offense. They give up 18 points. And then against the Texans, who have an average, pretty above average offense, they give up 30 points. I didn't watch that game, though. I know the offense was pretty abysmal. But yeah, I don't think the defense has been very good by any means. I do think it has been good and solid. They tend to really dominate lesser competition. And the offense never helps them out, but I do think it's an overrated defense with a really good D-line. Prediction, this is a division rivalry matchup. As we all know, these can go either way. It's really hard to predict these, but obviously I really like the Ravens in this matchup. I just think they're the better team overall this season. I'm going to go Ravens 24-10, and the spread on this one is Baltimore -4.5. I got the Ravens covering this one, and the over-under is 39. I'm taking the under. I do think this could go either way, though. It's kind of a coin flip when it's this close. Over-under is so hard to call, but I'm going to go under. Hopping into that Eagles at Rams game. Eagles look like a very poor 4-0 team, but they do have that going for them, right? They're 4-0. And at the end of the day, with these Super Bowl contenders, we're really looking hard come week 12 to 15. So they have plenty of time to figure it out. They also have 2 new defensive coordinators. But it is very concerning how uncomfortable Jalen Hurts continues to look, especially when it's not zero coverage. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Whenever he gets one-on-one with his receivers, he tends to take a shot and look pretty good. He had a couple throws in this game, though, that were incredible. It's weird. He's getting into the flow of it. He looked a lot more comfortable this week, but it's just weird how different he looks, right, this year from last year. And let me tell you what, it's extremely concerning how the defense just let Sam Howell tear them apart. Commanders do always play good against the Eagles, but the secondary is super beat up, and that's how it goes a lot of the times. Just ask the Ravens, right? Good coaching can help with that a lot. I mean, look at the Ravens. They always have secondary issues, and they always play really good. It truthfully does lead me to believe they don't have the pieces this year in the secondary to be elite at any point, even with their front seven being so dominant, helping them out on paper. The front seven did not have a good game against the Commanders. So on paper, this front seven is so dominant. I'm just not high on the Eagles this year, and I think for good reason. I think a lot of people aren't super high on them. Rams, they're playing really good football for what they have. Pass pro has been really concerning though so far. For those who don't know what pass pro means, it's pass protection. Their pass protection has been really bad. But McVay and Stafford, they've been able to get this offense moving. Defense as a unit has been really solid for how much they lost in the offseason. Defense has been really good. Sam Howell just torched this Eagles defense. Every week is different, but you got to be licking your chops if you're Stafford and McVay. A lot of Rams fans are probably thinking in their head, right? Like, look at what Sam Howell just did. He's in his second year against this defense. Matt Stafford's going to absolutely tear this defense apart, and this should be a Rams win. Every week is so different when it comes matchup-wise and scheme-wise. You could literally be scheming, having a certain scheme for a week, and the other team has a completely different scheme that's going to, combat that scheme. And so every week is just so different. I don't think that I don't think you can say in the NFL that since the secondary looked bad one week, they're going to look really bad the next week, or just a defense in that manner. But the prediction here, I think the Eagles are in high upset alert here and looking to lose their first game of the season. With how the Rams pass pro has been and how good this Eagles front seven is on paper, I can't take the upset in this one. With the trenches looking so lopsided on paper, it's so hard. Excuse me, it is so hard to take that upset and just go with the Rams. I'm going to say the Eagles win a close one, 30-27. The spread is -4.5 Eagles. I think it's a really smart bet here to have the Rams cover. Could the Eagles obviously win by more than 4.5 points? Absolutely. But I think the Rams, matchup-wise, really, I like that cover there. And then the over-under is 50.5. I have it going over. I think both offenses are pretty good, and both defenses struggle. With just the Eagles' run game, they can really score whenever, just because they're so dominant running the ball. It's funny. The holes that DeAndre Swift is running through, like let's say two-hand touch, right? For lack of matter of me not getting injured. I think if I was the running back behind that offensive lines right now, I'd probably average 3 yards. 3 yards a carry. 3 yards before contact, too, because once I get touched, we're just calling it down because I don't want to die. But it's been that good. So that's one thing the Eagles certainly have going for them. Let's jump into that Bengals at Cardinals. This is a huge game for the Bengals. Season is on the line. If you're a Bengals fan, okay, here's how I'm looking at it, right? Let me go pull up their schedule really quick. I certainly think if you lose this game as a Bengals, just for the Bengals, I think it's over. I think it's over. You fall 1-4. It's so hard to win games in the NFL. But with that being said, I don't think their season's over right now with 1-3. Look at the schedule, right? It starts with winning these next 2 games. So you beat Arizona, you beat Seattle. That's 2-3 going into the bye week. Joe Burrow, let's say Joe Burrow, with that bye week in those last 2 games, does come back fully healthy, which would be huge. You play San Francisco and Buffalo. If you can win one of those games, then you're right on schedule. You could probably finish the season somewhere between 10-7 and be a playoff team and make a run in the playoffs. So I don't necessarily think it's over. It's 1-3. It's still early. Sorry. It's still early, but I do think it all comes down to these next 2 weeks. They've been by far the most disappointing team of the season. Joe Burrow isn't healthy. He can't escape out of the pocket, and the O-line for the 3rd straight year has been an absolute disaster. Defense has been average at best. They've only had one dominant game. It was against the Rams because the Rams' pass pro is so bad. That D-line is just able to get after Stafford the entire day. It did come in a win, though, so if this defense can be dominant, they can win games with Joe Burrow not being healthy. We've seen it. Rams are a pretty good team, too. Cardinals been by far the most surprising team of the season. Beat the Cowboys, playing great football, and gave the NFL's best team a huge run for their money in the 49ers. The game was much more competitive than the score relayed. Prediction-wise, I do think the Bengals season is over starting with this week. I'm sorry, Bengals fans. I just don't think it's your year. I don't think you're making the playoffs. Cardinals are playing really good football. Their pass rush has been really good with a bunch of no-names. I don't even know their names. It's some white guy with with long hair. It's like Giskel or I don't remember, something like that. But he's been good. Just as a whole, it's been good. But with Joe Burrow not being healthy and the offensive line, I think the Cardinals take this one, and the Bengals fans. And sorry, excuse me. I think the Cardinals take the Bengals fans' hearts. I'm going Cardinals 25-20. Cincinnati is -3 favorite in this one. I'm taking the Cardinals in that spread. And then it's 44.5. I'm going to take the over. I probably take the over a little too much. You might want to take the under in this one, but I went with it being over. Let's get into that Chiefs at Vikings matchup. This is also a huge game for the Vikings. They lose this one, fall 1-4. I think it's fair to say, even if the Vikings, let's say, win this game, they don't make the playoffs. 1-3 with how they've played, and 1-4 would be awful. But Chiefs. Let's talk about the Chiefs. Their offense has looked really weird, right? There's been a lot of good and a lot of bad. Patrick Mahomes just gave the ball away twice in their Jets matchup. I did want to bring something up for Cowboys fans. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen both had horrible games against this Jets defense, right? But not Dak. So I just want to give him a little love there. I know Dak isn't near as good as both these quarterbacks, and I know he hasn't been that good He hasn't been as good as them this year, not even close to it. But he gets a lot of hate come media time about just throwing the ball away. But Patrick Mahomes already did it twice. Just like he did it twice. Just blatant, horrible interceptions. So I did want to give him some love there. The defense that's getting Chris Jones back has been definitely the bright spot in this team, which is really weird to say just about a team with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. It's interesting. But they've been playing better football, that's for sure. Vikings, this is the NFL's best team, or worst team. I don't know. Somewhere along the lines there, right? Offense has put up spectacular numbers while also turning the ball over and handing the ball over. Kirk has been the definition of the stats don't tell the full truth. In fact, they never tell the full truth. Anyone who's been watching these Vikings games knows that he is the reason for losing all these games. Like the Chiefs, their defense has been a huge surprise and have had to try and overcome the offense, but they've done a really good job. It's just disappointing with what Kirk and the offense has done for the Vikings, and I'm sorry if you're a Vikings fan, because with how your defense is playing, you guys should easily be 3-1 right now, and it sucks. Prediction-wise, this is a really hard one for me to pick, because I can really see it going two ways. I can see the Vikings winning a semi-close game, or the Chiefs just absolutely blowing them out, like they did against the Bears. If this was a playoff game or a meaningful game for the Chiefs, I don't... When you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I haven't seen him in these regular season games come out with the same meaningfulness as he does in the playoffs. Like, if this was a playoff game, or like they needed to go win the division or something, and it was like high-intensity game, I'd say no chance Patrick Mahomes loses this game, right? But someone's telling me to take Kirk in this one, so I'm just going to go Vikings 32-29. Spread is KC -3.5. I got the Vikings covering. I don't know. For whatever reason, I like the Vikings in this one. And then over-under is 52.5. I have it going over. This is also one where I'd probably take the under. It's hard to say that Kirk Cousins beats Patrick Mahomes in a shootout, but I can certainly see it happening, right? Like, I can see the Vikings defense giving up a decent amount of points and Kirk Cousins overcoming it. But I would actually probably go under and re-vote or re-pick my score and maybe go... Shit, I'm on the spot here, but I might go... I don't see the Chiefs scoring less than 20 points. That's the problem. Maybe 24-28 Vikings, and it barely going under. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into the favorite matchup of the week. We're going Cowboys at 49ers. These two teams, they're the best two teams of football. Absolutely. And they're both playing like it right now. So it's so cool we get to see it this week. I can't wait. I am so hyped for it. Cowboys, other than the loss to the Cardinals, this team has looked completely dominant over the entire NFL. Other than the 49ers, their opponent this week, 49ers have looked just as dominant and also struggled against this Cardinals team, though. I did want to mention that. The Cowboys, with a small sample size on the Cardinals, overlooked them and seemed like they didn't prepare at all. It definitely wasn't a fluke. The Cardinals played good against the Cowboys, but I do think it's absolutely a fluke that they won that game. That's a concern on its own for the Cowboys, but this week they're certainly not going to look the 49ers, right? Just no chance. I do worry about this Cowboys offense, though. The only time they needed to perform was against that Cardinals team, and they just disappointed greatly, especially Dak. Like, they really need to get the offense going, especially if they want to win this game. They're going to have to put up 20 to 30 points easily. And the reason they've put up such high numbers is because that defense has been so incredible at forcing turnovers and scoring the ball. The biggest thing for the Cowboys this week, they need to stop the run first. I know the last thing you can have is Brock Purdy just easily getting that play action game going because the run game's been so hard to stop. It's huge. It's huge every week for every team, right? But in this one, I think absolutely the biggest concern for them, they need to just live with Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and just really focus on McCaffrey this week. 49ers, every week there's really not a whole lot to say about this team other than they're playing incredible football. I do want to note, though, Brock Purdy has continued to make really bad mistakes, and he hasn't looked that great, honestly. Facing a Cowboys defense that forces turnovers so easily, he needs to help his defense and keep possession. I'm trying to remember the game. It wasn't the Cardinals game that I watched, but it was the week before. Who did they play? Let me go look at it. They played the Giants. Yeah, it's the Giants. Early on in that game, Brock Purdy was just throwing balls away. The Giants could have had 2 to 3 interceptions in that game, but Giants suck. So that's how that went. And then sorry, yeah. So just like that, and then they struggled against Arizona, like 35-16. Like everyone knows that game was actually super competitive. Unlike the Cowboys, though, which is a good sign, they were able to get their offense going and seal the win. So, I mean, they definitely have that going for them. Prediction-wise, I'm not going to lie. I, as you could probably tell in how I was talking about both teams, I really like the Cowboys matchup in this one. With the Cowboys defense just looking so dominant against a QB who's looked pretty inconsistent and I like that a lot. And the 49ers front seven has been incredible, but they've struggled in the back end. I think that's another win for the Cowboys. Biggest concern for the Cowboys is obviously downplaying the 49ers run game. I don't know how you can downplay it, but so for whatever reason, the Cowboys seem to do stupid shit all the time. And then letting C-Mac just running wild. He needs to be their number one focus on D, but I'm going boys 24-20. I'm going under that 45 spread. Barely. Again, I think another coin toss. It could be 27-20. It could be 24-21, blah, 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 whatever, right? Spread is San Francisco minus 3.5. I got the boys covering. I think the boys cover is a really, really good pick in this game. Could the Niners end up winning by 10, right? We've always seen in garbage time or 6. We always see field goals in garbage time, but I really like the Cowboys in this win and maybe losing in a close game field goal. So, covering. But let's get into that Monday Night Football. We got Packers at Raiders. Packers are still a huge question mark. Let me pull up their schedule. I just kind of wanted to go over it. They're still a big question mark if they're pretty good or pretty bad. They taken the huge win against the Bears away. They've been extremely inconsistent. I mean, they're a young team, so it makes sense, but it makes them really hard to judge. So let's look at it, right? They have that dominant win against the Bears, right? Then they go against Atlanta, and they have a really dominant 3 quarters because Atlanta's offense sucks, and then they just lose it. They absolutely just lose their minds in the fourth, and they lose 25-24. Then against New Orleans, they're down 17-0 in the first half, even going into the third quarter, and Derek Carr gets hurt. They lose their starting quarterback. They end up coming back 18-17. It was really cool to see their offense, though. Obviously, go for that. Just get 18 points on that super good New Orleans Saints defense, but they were also on the field so much in that second half, it's hard to really say. And then they go against the Lions. Lions look legit. I don't want to kill them for it. Lions look really good. Their defense looks really good, and Jared Goff and the offense looks solid, too. So, but it's just, they're such a hard team to judge at this point because they're so inconsistent and they really haven't been that good, as good as people think, just because of that Bears win. Raiders, offense and defense have both been pretty bad, and to be frank, I just don't really have a whole lot of good things to say about this team. I don't think they're good at all. Offense has a lot of potential, but Jimmy G makes it bad. Jacobs, they haven't been able to get the run game going. He hasn't looked that great in the run game. he had a great game fantasy-wise, but it's because he had 11 receptions and he's playing with a rookie, or I think he's a rookie quarterback, right? He was their backup quarterback, and Devontae Adams kind of got hurt. The defense, other than Max Crosby, has been ridiculously disappointing, especially Tyree Wilson, their first-round pick. I said a couple weeks ago I was super excited to watch him. He's looked really bad. I don't know if it's the injury. He did have an injury coming into the season. I don't know if that's what's going on with him, but I wanted the Falcons to take Tyree Wilson. Now, the Raiders took him one pick before us in this last past draft, and it's looking like, thank God they did, because we probably would have taken him. Prediction, though, I actually think the Packers are good. I think they're a pretty good team. They're solid. I know there's a lot of question marks there, and I do think the Raiders are bad, like I just said. I understand the line favoring the Raiders kind of makes sense, with the Packers being so young and inconsistent, but I'm going Pack in this one, 28-17. The spread is Raiders, 2 points. Favored, right? I got the Packers covering it, and then the over is 44.5. I'm going to say over. I think both offenses are better than both defenses, truthfully. So I got over. That's going to be it, though, for today. Again, if you did make it all the way to this end of the video and you enjoyed it, or you have any questions or concerns or think I'm wrong about something, comment, like. I message all my comments back because I don't really get that many, truthfully. So, let me know what you think, and if you did like the video, again, just hit that like and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, helps me out a ton. But let's go into that just summary of the Week 5. I got the Bills, 31-20. I got the Texans against Atlanta, 24-20. I got the Ravens, 24-10 against the Steelers. I got the Eagles, 30-27 against the Rams. I got the Cardinals, 25-20, upsetting the Bengals and ending their season. Vikings, I got 32-29 over the Chiefs. Big upset there. Boys, I'm going 24-20 over the Niners. And then I got Packers over the Raiders at 28-17. But that is going to be it for today, guys. Let's have another great Sunday. Let's have another great Week 5 Sunday of NFL football. All right, we will catch you guys next time. See ya.